The Tale of the Gods and Man. About 2 decades ago, in a rustic village in West Africa, nestled in the heart of the African savanna, where the vibrant golden sun hangs high in the sky, casting long, sinuous shadows over the vast, rolling plains of tall, swaying grasses and scattered acacia trees, with thatched roof huts and earthen structures blending seamlessly into the natural landscape, surrounded by a tapestry of earthy tones, from burnt oranges to rich terracottas, with the air thick with the scent of damp earth and smoke wafting lazily from cooking fires, a meandering river that lazily flows, its tranquil waters glistening with subtle ripples, as it winds its way through the lush green grasslands, providing sustenance and hydration to a diverse array of wildlife, including majestic elephants, agile antelopes, and vigilant birds, set against a backdrop of towering acacia trees, their twisted branches stretching towards the clear blue sky, with a few wispy clouds drifting lazily across the horizon, and in the distance, the sun shines brightly, casting a gentle glow over the entire scene, evoking a sense of peaceful coexistence between nature and its inhabitants. Talking about the beauty of the village, as villagers boldly patterned in rough clothing and ornate headwear go about their daily routines. There lived a king named Ojukwu. Known for his regal demeanor and unmatched wealth, King Ojukwu was proud and believed that there was no kingdom more blessed than his kingdom. His people adored and worshipped him because of his anger and hatred for his subjects. The king's face is stern and unforgiving, etched with deep lines that tell of years of disdain. His sharp, angular jaw is set in a perpetual scowl, giving him an air of cold authority. His eyes are icy and calculating, with a piercing gaze that seems to cut through anyone who dares to meet it. These eyes only soften when he looks upon his court, where a faint, almost sinister smile might play on his thin, colorless lips. His complexion is dark, almost as if drained of warmth or compassion, emphasizing the lifelessness in his expression. The high, arched brows add to his haughty demeanor, making it clear that he views his subjects as little more than an inconvenience, while his court is the only group that he holds in any regard. His overall appearance is one of chilling indifference, a ruler whose heart is as cold as his visage. But as time passed, stories of a distant land, where the trees bore fruits as large as melons and rivers sparkled with golden fish, reached the ears of King Ojukwu. The storytellers spoke of a place where the soil was so fertile that anything planted would grow overnight, and the sun shone gently, never scorching, only nurturing. These tales of unimaginable prosperity ignited a fire of desire in King Ojukwu's heart. If my kingdom is great, he thought, then this new land must be even greater. Why should I and my court remain here when we could reign over a land that surpasses all others? Driven by this thought, King Ojukwu summoned his advisors and declared, "We shall journey to this green land of abundance. We will leave this place, and I shall lead you to a new kingdom where we will thrive like never before." The court, dazzled by the king's vision, eagerly agreed. They packed their belongings, gathered their wealth, and left the kingdom behind. As they marched toward the distant land, they left their people without leadership, guidance, or protection. The king went with two of his court and wives, two guards, a prophet, and an executioner. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, as they trekked through deserts, crossed rivers, and climbed mountains. The journey was long and arduous, far more difficult than they had imagined. The further they went, the more their supplies dwindled, and the less their spirits remained high. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, they reached the land of promise, just as the storyteller said. But when they arrived, they found, though not the paradise they had dreamed of, but a little close to something. Although they settled after all, King Ojukwu asked them all their thoughts of the new land, but their minds were all made up for a new adventure. So they agreed to stay and never to return to their homeland again. Those days they believed so much in the gods and king's decree, and they urged the king to make a decree on their quest to stay, and the king did, just as they had requested, and believed the gods had answered them as well. The next day, the men built huts for themselves while the women were so excited to explore the new land, leaving their husbands and the queen behind, who was suffering from a curious sickness. They planned on finding fertile lands and shops to make their hair. King Ojukwu was so happy that the women liked the new land. After building the hut, men decided to go hunting and fishing in the river sparkled with golden fishes. King Ojukwu and his wife stayed back with the guards and the prophet. Meanwhile, the women who had gone to explore searched tirelessly, but only found barren soil and wilting trees. The land was desolate, a shadow of the stories they had heard. One plane of the land ended in a jungle, and the other side leads to the very big ocean. No shops, no fertile land, no good water. The women lamented as they hurried back to their husbands. When they got back, their husbands were still busy hunting, and they couldn't go to the king because it was forbidden for women to meet the king. They went inside and swept. The two guards gossiped on what could have gone wrong with the women who left with so much happiness. An hour later, the men rejoiced back from hunting, having killed wildlife and other things, but unknowing to them what their wives had planned for them. A lot still in stock to be unveiled. Do like, share, and subscribe to get all the story.